start by introducing Mr. Tuteja. Mr. Tuteja is a seasoned healthcare professional with a PhD, and he's currently serving as the CEO of the Jodhpur City Knowledge and Innovation Foundation at the IIT campus in Jodhpur. He has held various leadership positions in ICMR, including Head of Division of Nutrition, Head of Center for Promotion of Nutrition Research and Training. He has also established several research centers, including Clinical Biochemistry Laboratory, Bioinformatics Center, Tribal Health Research Unit, etc. He has authored many research papers, and during COVID pandemic, he was the national nodal officer for maintenance and distribution of testing kits and reagents across 500 government laboratories. Welcome, Dr. Toteja. My next introduction is for Shilpa. Shilpa Jain is a PhD in physics and from Pune University, and she is currently leading the Pune Knowledge Cluster. She has extensive experience in CSR and have been involved in working on research, academic, teacher training workshops, and project leaderships in the CSR vertical. Welcome, Shilpa, on this platform. My next introduction is for Mr. Prashant. Okay, I think Mr. Prashant is facing a technical glitch. I will introduce him the moment he joins back. So, Keron, over to you to ask the questions. And Mr. Prashant join back. I will come back with the introduction. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Teresa. And welcome to the Rise World Summit as well, a platform with now over 6,000 people from 70 plus countries. And it's the 10th edition as well. So a lot of buzzing happening on the platform. And of course, a platform that we are here to talk about and hear about the MANTHAN platform, as well as what the principal scientific advisor to the government of India, the wonderful initiatives that they're taking to push science, innovation, and technology in India. And of course, the cluster heads themselves, who are responsible at their own cluster level to really make this happen on the ground. So thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Shilpa and Dr. Toteja. It is really a pleasure to have you with us. So to get started, we're going to maybe start talking a little bit about each individual cluster first so that they understand. So maybe a brief, description about them. And then we will get into what we call the 3 C's of the Rise World Summit format. And just to let our audience also know about it, we talk about challenges, we talk about capabilities, and then we talk about collaboration. Excuse me. And the reason we do that is because, when we understand challenges and you can find solutions out of capabilities for it, you can with a proper take, right? So this being and we'll have specific questions, of course, for all of you. Just for the sake of a technical glitch, Dr. Shilpa, I would request that, just hold on to the unmuting please, because sometimes there is an echo that comes in. Can you hear us clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Excellent. Then we are good to go. All right. So can we just go around the room one time very quickly to understand each of the clusters separately? Dr. Toteja, would you like to start?
Yeah, thank you very much. And appreciate the good initiative taken by Office of PSA. And thanks for a wonderful presentation by Mr. Kulshrestha. Now, our cluster actually was sanctioned in July 2020. And under the cluster, you see the Section 8 company was formed in March 2021. And I joined as CEO in the second week of April 2021. Prior to this, I was an Additional Director General of ICMR Delhi and Director of ICMR Institute on Non-Communicable Disease in Jodhpur. So, because I was in Jodhpur as a director of the institute for 8-9 years, so I was involved in the formulation of the project since beginning. So, in consultation with the Office of PSA, we identified 4 areas to begin with, and then 2 more areas or 2 more verticals were added on. The one is the medical technology, the first vertical. Now, Jodhpur is a very unique city. It has a institutional hub, You have AIMS in Jodhpur. You have medical college in Jodhpur. You have Ayurveda University in Jodhpur. You have ICMR Institute in Jodhpur, where I was director for 8 years. Then, if you talk about technology, you have IIT in Jodhpur. You have engineering college in Jodhpur. And beside that, you have ICR Institute, Ministry of Environment Institute, Law University, and now Digital University. So many universities, hub of the institute. So because, Jodhpur is the second largest city of Rajasthan, and the main occupation in Jodhpur is the textile industries and dye industries and small medical equipment industry, and biggest one is the handicraft industry, big handicraft industry in the Rajasthan. So keeping those in views, because there are a lot of industries which are interested in the medical devices, and because we had the AIMS and IIT both together, so accordingly we have initiated certain programs also. This is the one. If we get the time, we'll talk details about this one. The second one is that is the water and environment. And water, the problem of Rajasthan will always be there. And water also because of the fluoride contamination also. Fluoride out of 33 districts of Rajasthan, 28 districts are having the endemic problem of the fluoride. And besides also the number of textile industries here. So wastewater is another issue in Rajasthan. So therefore, you see, water and environment was also taken as the second cluster in the our JCKIL. The third is that we have talked about the handicraft. So handicraft is the one because in handicraft in India is exporting handicraft products of 25,000 crore rupees annually. And out of 25,000 crore, 8,000 crore handicraft products are exported from Rajasthan, and out of 8,000, 2,500 crore handicraft products are exported from Jodhpur only. This is only export 25,000 crore. Domestic market is also likely to be have over 25,000 crore. We don't have data for domestic market. And one of the objective of the cluster is to uh, see that local problems you have to promote, you have to take care of the local problems, and we have to generate certain employments, we have to upgrade the technology. So this is the cluster's objective. Therefore, handicraft, especially from unorganized sectors, we have taken as a priority. And also during COVID, the unorganized sector worker, more than 2 lakhs artisans, they were badly affected. So that was also a priority. Then fourth one is we talk about the I-governance. And the I-governance, we are helping the local management for developing the software for the traffic management. Then two more clusters were added, you see, that is one on the AIoT, artificial intelligence of other things. Under this, we have we are trying to develop the sensors. Earlier used to we are getting sensors from China now. Now our import from China had declined considerably, and we want to become independent also. Therefore, this is the one we will produce the sensor, and then we'll work with the for the healthcare also using this AIoT vertical. And the last is the Thar desert, because it's a Thar area. So therefore, you see, it is important to understand the ecology of the Thar. So these are the 6 clusters where we have been working. And if you want detail, we can give now in subsequent month when my turn comes.
Thank you so very much. These are truly addressing national priorities and social issues. And I think each one of them, literally each one of them, are so critical. And it is wonderful to know about these initiatives. And we'll definitely request you to please share more about the possible schemes. How can budding entrepreneurs, because we ourselves, one of our verticals, we have 3 verticals: partnerships, entrepreneurship, and then citizenship. So for us as well, we work with so many entrepreneurs. There are so many entrepreneurs on this platform, and I'm sure that they would really benefit from knowing from you, and also corporates who would like to partner with you. So thank you very much for sharing that, and we look forward to more. Oh, great. We have Dr. Prashant with us now. I'm so glad that you could join us. I think it was a
Sorry.
slight
Actually, internet was unstable, so I had to drop off and join again. Yeah.
Yes. No problem. Technology is boon, both a boon and a bane.
Yes, sometimes. Effectively, it is more of a boon, but sometimes, yeah, definitely some
Absolutely.
challenge.
No doubt about it. So
Yes.
this is wonderful to have you back with us. Teresa, do you want to, or shall I continue?
Thank you,
Teresa.
Garon. We have two more cluster heads joining us. Thank you so much for joining back, Dr. Prashant, and thank you so much, Srinivas, for being here today. Dr. Prashant Singh is the CEO of Bhubaneswar City Knowledge Innovation Cluster, focusing on assessment and implementation of science and technology measures. He has extensive experience in molecular diagnostic and next-gen sequencing, having completed his PhD and worked as a research scientist in ICGEB, New Delhi, studying malaria. He then worked at Roche Diagnostic in technical and managerial roles. And during COVID-19 pandemic, he has focused on building capacity for COVID-19 diagnostic, including providing practical guidelines, workshops, and networking with academia and industries. For our next guest, Mr. Srinivas, he is an alumni of IIMA and a hands-on experience in technology solutions development and implementation in energy sector. He has published several white papers and reports on application of energy 4.0 technologies such as AI, blockchain, etc. He's currently director of Sustainability Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad, also known as RICH. Welcome both of you, and over to Garon.
Thank you so very much, Teresa. I'm so glad we have our additional cluster heads also joining us. And Dr. Prashant, as we would like to know more before we get into the clusters itself, at an overarching level, the principal scientific officers, obviously, as I said just a little bit earlier, is working on all the national priorities and social issues, because both of these are really critical, right? So what is science and technology clusters all about? What is the objective? We heard from Rahul, of course, a lot before as well, but it would be really good if we could also hear this from you, please.
So, science and technology cluster, as the name suggests, is the conglomeration of different divisions, different verticals, which are coming together and address some of the problem. So the concept behind it is like every city has multiple institutions, and they do work in their thematic area, but today's problems are more complex, where people have to come together and find some joint solutions. Let's say if we are talking about a particular problem in mining field, at the same time we are also trying to integrate internet over things. So two different institutions has to come together for a more holistic solution. With that was the genesis of a cluster. If we talk about in detail, it's basically a conglomeration of different scientific institutions, industry, academia, even startups are coming into the picture because they also have multiple solutions, philanthropic organization and government organizations. And when they come together, they identify a particular problem. It starts from the technology development to the deployment. So we are not stuck with one phase that academia many a time develop a technology, but they don't have anyone to take it forward and deploy it. Similarly, when they work with industry, they know what are the needs. It's not that one-sided development which is not going to work in the market. And when you marry them at the very beginning, they can decide and plan their project in a way that 2 year, 3 year down the line, when the project is developed, when the solutions are available, they are actually market ready rather than trying to fit somehow in the market. So market is one thing, even when we are talking about societal solutions, because these scientific institutions are government institutions and we have huge mandate to fulfill many of the societal needs. There also, when you develop in advance with the government organizations, you can better tailor-made the solution. It's not that at the last moment you're trying to fit in. So that is the concept behind the clusters. You start with identifying a problem. One of the key areas is like for each of the cluster to identify some of the regional problems. The way Dr. Tuteja was talking about the textile industry and similar other industries which is there in Jodhpur. Even if we talk about Odisha, we are talking about more on the mining and metallurgy, because that is something very indigenous to our area. If we talk about, I don't know, Delhi is there or not, they will be talking more about air pollution. So identify the local problem, get a set of people who has the expertise into that, they brainstorm, come with the effective solution, which is not only theoretical, but also implementable. So that is the whole concept behind the cluster. Each of the work, whatever is getting planned, is very much has an end user in insight. It's not that we don't value academic work. Unless the academic work on fundamental research is there, definitely nothing deployable will come into the picture. But out of multiple fundamental works, those which are more like translational, we focus on them, we connect the right set of the people and try to deploy in different regions as per the need of a particular region or particular industry. So that's the concept behind the cluster, S&T clusters. That's all from my side.
You're right. I mean,
Yeah.
great. Thank you so very much once again, Dr. Prashant. I think you're absolutely right. We do need the robustness of academia, but at the end of the day, it has to have the application on the ground. It's not that they don't have, but it has to be made to be applied on the ground. And I think that's where the connect and the bridge between academia and entrepreneurship comes in. And I think that's wonderful to see how the PSA office is making that happen over here. So thank you once again for that. Next, I will invite Dr. Shilpa to please, help us understand about her cluster and what are you doing.
So hello everyone. Yeah, hello everyone and good morning. I'm Shilpa Jain and I'm Program Manager at Pune Knowledge Cluster. And Pune Knowledge Cluster is also one of the clusters which can bring together R&D institutions, industry and academia together to solve the problems of city. And for this, we have identified 5 thematic areas, or you can call as the areas in which we would like to work for the city. They are the health, sustainability and environment, sustainable mobility, big data and AI, and capacity building. So we were established during the pandemic situation, and so a lot of work on health vertical has been already done. Some of the projects have also been completed. And in sustainability and environment, we are looking for the afforestation projects. There are many projects in which we are working, like Connect Tree platform, where we are developing a platform where you can monitor the growth of trees. Sustainability is a very important issue when you have a tree planted. You can just plant and leave it, but you have to see the life of the plant, whether it is useful for the environment. So such kind of initiative. So we have a app that has been developed by our team in environment that looks after the growth of the tree, and whether if the tree is not performing well, or if the leaves are getting yellow in color or something, the citizens can participate, take the photograph and put it on the platform. It gets triggered to our team, and then this thing happens that someone of us goes and checks. So this is a very important thing, that the sustainability comes into picture when you look after, when you grow a tree and complete area. Like we have identified some societies where we go and check. We also involve citizens. So involvement of citizens is very important in a project such as environment. The other is about sustainable mobility. We are talking to the Smart City Initiative team and looking at how we can see when the metro is made in Pune. So a lot of work of metro is going on, last mile connectivity and all these issues that are cropping up every now and then in every city. We could also give some solutions to this. So that is one of the verticals. In big data and AI, we also have a program called 1 Million Galaxies, which is also a partially funded project by University of Southampton. And my team members are developing and have already developed an app where citizens are again involved in characterizing the citizens can be anybody, working women or women at home, kids, senior citizens who have a lot of free time. They can see the images and then look at the images, and there are very simple questions that are asked during this. What are the images like? Do you see the spots and all those? So all this data goes in the backend, and the scientists are able to characterize the whole data. They get a lot of such data, and the plan is to reach the 1 million galaxies. So this is one of the programs. So under capacity building, we have a lot of sessions, lectures, and training programs going on. There are a lot of funding projects. We have got funding from industry for 2 of the projects, for specifically for women in chemistry, and another for training teachers and students in technology, which has also been funded by industry. So there are many such projects that are already going on in the Pune Knowledge Cluster. We also have MOUs with 30 plus institutes and academia and industries together. And we have also raised funding with help of OPSA, that is where Rahul is working as Principal Scientific Advisor's Office, around 4.4 crore. And we are also looking for a lot of external fundings that we have already raised through international fundings in health domain. So in all, we are working on a lot of projects in all such 5 domains. And if you have many more questions, I can go ahead later. Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dr. Shilpa. I think that definitely gave us a lot of insights. And I think, you spoke, and as I said earlier, we have the 3 verticals, right? Partnership, entrepreneurship, and then citizenship. And you exactly touched on that to say that you need all these 3, right? You need all these 3 to make anything work, to scale any kind of initiatives, right? And that is what we hope on this platform. We have all these people and they come together to really support great initiatives that are helping us, of course, become a greater nation. I think do we have, Teresa? The one more cluster head, right? I'm just looking, I'm not very sure. Yes, Mr. Srinivas, that's right. I was wondering for a minute, I could not see you. Welcome, Mr. Srinivas. Really glad to have you with us. And I hope we are going to hear from you about your cluster. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Karan, and thank you, Teresa, for the invitation here. And also, it was a nice to hear the other clusters and their representatives speak about what they're working on. So, as Rahul might already have put in, there are multiple such clusters working on several areas. We, from the Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad, we are the Hyderabad-based Science and Technology Cluster. And we are working on 3 thematic areas, primarily the thematic areas being, the choice of thematic areas comes from presence of large number of research and academic institutions in these sectors, and the strong trust and presence in the area of Telangana, right? So we picked food and agriculture, and a small kind of tidbit is that almost 40 to 45% of the seed that is used around the country is manufactured in Telangana. Also, in terms of life sciences, it is well known and recognized that Hyderabad is the pharmacy capital of the world. And the third thematic area is sustainability. Telangana is looks at sustainability very closely. A resource-constrained nation, and being landlocked, there are also certain constraints on availability of water, availability of other renewable resources. So Telangana wants to be a front bearer and look at emerging technologies in the area of mobility, energy management, waste management, and water management. So that's why we picked sustainability as our third core area. We are working on several projects, some few of them which have been completed and few which are still ongoing. For instance, some of the earlier sectors, that is where we had some head start, are the agri and healthcare sectors. In the healthcare, we launched a program called Acceleration Initiative in Diagnostic, or the AID platform. And the intent of this AID platform is to select, identify startups, identify technology providers and entrepreneurs who need help in the early stage of their startup. Healthcare, as you know, is a very regulated sector. The kind of gestation period for startups is pretty huge. 5-7 years is considered very normal in the healthcare sector. And the startups have to run through a whole lot of clinical trials. They have to get regulatory support to ensure that they're meeting the latest and ever-changing regulations in these areas, right? And also they need support from the mentors in terms of clinicians on how best would the product be have to be configured or developed to make it really easy for them to be used in a decentralized manner in smaller labs in tier 2, tier 3 centers, since we are talking about diagnostics in this case. So one such project cohorts, and some of the success stories are one startup got 50 lakh funding. There are about a total of about 30 startups have been mentored, and almost 10 to 12 startups have received some form of funding beyond the program, from 50 lakhs, 20 lakhs for four startups, 10 lakhs for 2 startups, and few other startups have been absorbed in yet another tech challenge called Jan Care Health Tech Startup Challenge. So there's a pipeline. We're taking emerging and showing them some pipeline either through funding or through further mentoring at a different accelerator program which suits their needs. Okay, we're also working on other projects. We can get into the, but beyond aid, we also have something called Project Tej, which helps slightly advanced stage medical startups reach out to hospitals, reach out to big research centers for data or for proving out their product and generating value from their product. I'll switch gears to agri when we're working on projects like Agri NutriConnect, emerging technology pilots in agriculture, and in agriculture. We picked data standardization in agriculture because it has a large impact. Today, the way, for instance, insurance, crop insurance, when a calamity happens or a natural disaster happens, it is very unscientific. It relies a lot on colloquial information on what crops are sown, what extent of crop was there, and other things which are gathered by the local gram panchayats or agriculture extension offices. But we're trying to kind of put a layer of technology on top of it, bring in satellite imagery, and bring in the colloquial information to accurately predict the value of crop, the extent of damage, so on and so forth, right? Further, we are also looking at emerging technologies like drone, seeing how drones can be used for pollination, since we're seeing sharp decline in the number of natural pollinators like honeybees or butterflies. We're also looking at how we can bring in these emerging technologies in such niche areas. Climate resilient, documenting climate resilient agri practices with UNDP, and we bring in the native tribal information on how they are managing the extreme drought, extreme weather patterns, how they are able to sustain their crops, right? What crops have been found to be more yielding even in such demand or stressed conditions. So we are documenting those practices and trying to bring in technology, if possible, to help document and take those out to other areas in agriculture as well. Right? In sustainability, we're working on Center of Excellence on e-waste management, wherein looking at how we can safely recycle and process solar waste, e-waste, lithium-ion batteries, and several other electronic waste components. We're also working on green hydrogen valley, setting up a green hydrogen valley for generation, storage, dispensation of hydrogen, and creating a market, just like what was done for electric mobility. But now we have to fast track the hydrogen valley because we have enormous targets to achieve before 2030 for decarbonization. So We can again go back into details as we proceed further. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. And just the array of the different kinds of enterprises that are being supported and the kind of initiatives that are being taken is really, really tremendous. And when you're doing so much, one of the things that we realize, and we realize that thanks to the Rise World Summit as well, which is, at such a scale, that you will always have challenges. Right. So I think, I would really like, and right now I think we'll all be talking together. So if we can all turn on our videos, I would really appreciate that, so that we can all have a discussion together. I think, what we'd like to really understand and also make our audience understand is that what are the challenges you face as part of the PSA office and cluster heads, and what do the entrepreneurs face as enterprises that are looking to scale up and take their initiatives further and make them more applicable on the ground. Please, and now from here on it's an open discussion, open floor, so don't worry about me asking anybody specific. Please just jump in, unmute yourself and jump in. Yeah, I can see that Dr. Prashant is already unmuted, so please go ahead.
So it's a challenge which is not specific to, I can say, startups or entrepreneurs. The idea is like whenever you're developing a new technology, especially if you are going towards the deep tech, or even if it is not deep tech, it is a significant increment in the existing technology. Those are the things that are coming from the lab. And at right time, there should be an intermingling with the market understanding as well. So it's very, very important, because some of the times we see that, okay, scientists has really put a lot of effort and the product is good, but somehow it does not cross the entry point barriers of the market. Or when we are discussing with the industry, the type of questions, what is getting asked, like that is not well understood by the scientists. And there is nothing wrong. A scientist is not supposed to know the market things. He has to develop a robust product. So that is one challenge which I see, where the crosstalk is very less, and that's where the clusters comes into the picture. Even for us also at the very beginning, it's a challenge, because you have to pass an information which is not very well understood by the both sides. A scientist may make a really robust product, let's say a product which is 99% accurate, but I know the industry say that, okay, I need only 95% accurate product, but it should have less of the moving part so that I don't have a repair problem for next 2 years in the field. So things are slightly different. For that, they have to sit together, and that's the role which we are trying to bridge in. Apart from some of the bigger challenges, what we are talking about, but these are the smaller one, but the significant one. And when they start talking at initial stage, which I was talking earlier as well, it becomes easy to resolve. Otherwise, you have worked hard for 2 to 3 years. And in case of startups, let's say a scientist is still like, okay, we have a job and we are okay with it. But these startups who are like, let's say a fresh PhD pass out, a fresh MTech, a BTech pass out, he's putting his heart and sweat for 2 to 3 years. He's not taking a job. And he has really worked hard. And if he knows the integrities in advance, he can see that, okay, he has a product 2 to 3 years down the horizon. But after 3 years, if he realize that, okay, he has to go back to drawing board and again work for 2 to 3 years, it becomes really challenging. And we start losing some of the young energy who should be there in the startup sector, but they just left it because of the rigors and because of the timelines which are there. Yeah.
Right.
So working it out in advance is something very important.
Very true. And Dr. Prashant, I think, I read this very recently somewhere, a quote, and I'm sorry, but I can't remember who said this, said that if you have a perfect product when you launch, it means you waited too long. Yeah.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think and that's such a kind of a dichotomy, right, at one stage. Because especially when you look at scientists and entrepreneurs who are so passionate about their products, okay, they want it to be perfect, right, and perfect as they see it perfect. Now, unfortunately, sometimes, as they say, best is the enemy of the good, right? So it's sometimes it's good enough to go, and yet they don't go there because they want to make it the best. And the reverse is also true, that if you wait too long, you either may lose your first advantage mover, or you also can not maybe have enough opportunity to get the right feedback to really make it best for the market. Not best for you, but best for the market. And I think that's a huge challenge, and it's good to know that is something that is definitely there on the horizon for the PSA office working on them, and the cluster heads as well. So thank you very much for sharing that. Any other challenge? Yes, Dr. Shilpa, I can see you. Yes, go ahead.
I understand that there is a lot of gap between what has been taught in colleges and that is applicable in industry. So I personally feel, and I think many of us also feel, that the academicians should talk to the industries for training students in the way that they are more useful in the industry. So I think we have been talking to industries. We had a lot of courses, like cybersecurity is one of the very important course which is now to be taught. It is in part in engineering subjects. There are such subjects, but when you come to the case studies that are very important, that the industries should share with the students. This is one of the examples, but there are many other industrial examples that should be as case studies come to the academic, which is not happening. I think as clusters, we could also talk to both of them, the industry as well as academia, and bring them together in all these training programs for capacity building, even at college level as well as in school levels, right? So I think that is very important, that should be done.
And next year, we should work more closely with the PSA office to have more workshops right here at the Rice World Summit, because there are so many youngsters, so many students, so many academic institutions who are partnering with us. And I'm very confident that, they would be very interested in knowing more. And, the second part of it is bridge conversations between researchers and practitioners. I think the more we get those kind of dialogue moving, the better, we will see enterprises that are more ready for the market coming up. That is also another thing. So thank you very much for sharing that. I think that was an excellent point as well. Anybody else? Srinivas, would you like to come in? Yeah.
So thank you. I would talk more about challenges as a cluster than maybe at a startup level, if that is in the scope of discussion, right? As a cluster as well.
All challenges are scope of discussion. Go ahead, please.
As a cluster, the mandate is that we foster innovation. We bring in various key stakeholders to demonstrate projects of national importance or to demonstrate solutions for the industry, right? And in doing so, the first thing is we have to bring multiple key stakeholders together. Second thing, we have to take care that there's something in it for each of these key stakeholders, right? So if you bring in 3 or 4 or 5 big organizations, then each organization would have its own dimension, dynamics. So bringing in, matching the dynamics of these 4 or 5 different organizations proves to be very, very challenging. And in doing so, what eventually happens is you take a lot of time conceptualizing, making sure that everyone's interests are maintained, and still you're able to achieve the intended outcomes of whatever project. So somewhere down the line, if any of these parameters change, there is 1 or 2 institutions lose interest, or suppose we are not able to match their frequency wavelength in any other way, then there's a very big chance that whatever impact needs to be created will not be created, and you'll be pushed back maybe a couple of months in conceptualizing the whole thing. I'm pretty sure. So we kind of go through in cycles, talking to multiple stakeholders, bringing them together, losing interest of a few, again roping a few others in. So that's a cycle which we find very challenging as cluster. Okay, and I'm pretty sure you clusters on their challenges.
Yeah, very,
Very,
very well said, Srinivasji.
please come in, please.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. I think it's he spoke for all the clusters in that very statement. Yeah.
And that's again another thing with programs, right? You have challenges at multiple levels, right? And you need to plan and work at all those levels to make it work, so that you have success to show and outcomes to show, because at the end of the day, there is significant amount of funds that go into this. So how do you ensure that we are getting the kind of results that we're looking for, and what we need? But we also need support. Correct? I mean, without that support, how are you going to meet those challenges? So maybe we can start moving now to say, what is that kind of support? What are those kind of capabilities, capacities, solutions that we need to really help us meet these challenges? Anyone again? Prashant, you've already
So
answered.
when we are talking about a support system and strengthening the whole ecosystem, that is beyond cluster. I mean, within the cluster office per se, there are both extrinsic and intrinsic things which we have to do. Intrinsic, definitely, to be true, most of the clusters and most of our own colleagues are by own. I'm not talking about the faculty members who are coming from partner organization. I'm talking about my own office. My colleagues are needed to be trained. We are talking about a highly interdepartmental discussions. And if I rely on my cluster manager, or if I rely on my senior manager or program manager outreach, I should be providing enough training to them where he or she can cross talk with everyone. It's not that only it is limited to me. So robust HR is HR based intervention within the organization is very, very important. Let them train in different trades. If somebody is coming from the business side, he should be understanding some science. Somebody is coming from science side, he should be understanding some business. So it's kind of, it start at home before we start intermingling other set of the people. It's very, very important. And it's not easy to get people who are already trained in all these areas. So you have to find the right set of people and groom the other dimensions of that particular personality. Going beyond intrinsic, if I talk about extrinsic, we are very well supported by Office of the PSA. Many a time, if we need some connect and we are not able to reach out, a nudge from PSA office does help us to reach out to the right people and try to force the linkages. Having said that, yes, these are standard projects. They will have gestational time. Even if we talk about some simple CSR projects, which we see that, okay, can be implemented very well in rural areas. But a big conglomerate already has committed their CSR. They are funding some of the things for last 10 years. They cannot stop it. And their budget is limited. So those things does happen, that where how much money they can proportionate for this particular new initiative. So that is something which is categorically happening for last 2, 3, 5 years. So suddenly stopping that and starting a new one is not easy. One important thematic area which we did not discuss for the Bhubaneswar cluster is rural innovation implementation. It's like, okay, we work in an area where, half the population or half the geography is forest. So we work a lot on the periphery of the forest, in the buffer zones where there are forest dwellers. Luckily, there is very less technology penetration over there, but unluckily, they are not able to harvest the benefit of technology. So reaching out to there, and even if, let's say, non-timber forest produce, they are taking out from the jungle, even it is honeybee, they should be technically trained in a sense, like not to burn it so that your sugar get caramelized and you're not going to get any money out of it, or you're not going to get the real value out of it. So training them, all those things are very, very important. Those challenges are different when you actually work at the ground in the tribal areas. So it's not about technology. It's all about human connections which you have to work with. Technology just come as a support, and rest everything is like age old, like 100 years or 50 years back, how the world was working is the same when you work over there. Yes.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. I think that's so true. And I love that thought that, ultimately it has to be human centric, right?
Yes.
Ultimately must have that connect and people powered, because which is what we spoke about earlier in the citizenship piece. So I think really both designing for human centric, operationalizing it for human centric, for people, and then of course powering it by them itself. So thank you for sharing that. I also wanted to bring in the gender lens. I mean, I am a woman, and we believe so much in STEM, especially women in STEM. So I think the Pune cluster has a special program, right? So yeah, Dr. Shilpa, if you'd like to share something.
Yeah, so we have a funded program by BASF, which is a chemical company, and it has funded a 2-year program for women in chemistry. So this is for the students, for the girl students who are in their graduation and post-graduation level. And this whole fellowship program we call it as Vigyan, WENYAN, Vigyan. And in this, what we have done is that we have selected around 17 girls, who will get scholarship for 1 year for doing their projects. And we have also given a prototyping grant to 4 of the students, which is a good amount for them to start any venture which they have visualized that they could do. So we had a long program of selecting these students. We had got applications from all over Maharashtra, since it was more of students from Maharashtra, but we made sure that these are marginalized and low income groups, girls, who may never get an opportunity to come forward and make a mark in science, STEM, specifically in chemistry. So this funding was from BASF, and they wanted it to be done for chemistry because they also need a workforce, women workforce, and trained women workforce where they know about chemistry and how entrepreneurship or prototyping is done. So in this program, we are training them, mentoring them for all this. We are taking them for industrial visits. So next week, we are going for an industry visit. We are going to BASF and some other companies and taking all these girls to these places. I know the number of girls is small, but it's just a start. So then once this program is taken very positively, we have the next year when we are going to roll out this for the next year. And then now people have started coming to us asking about all these fellowship programs and all. So this is chemistry, then maybe we can do it for mathematics, then we can do it for IT industry. All these things can happen, but it's a start. But I think it was a very good initiative. And we thanks BASF for funding this for the 2 years program. That is one of the programs that we are doing. Yeah, thank you.
I want us to start moving now because the time, we didn't even realize, right? 2 hours has gone where. So we're moving towards the end of the session. So before we move to the end, I really want to touch on the collaboration piece, because that's really what we want as an outcome from both the session and the summit as a whole, that people who join us, our participants, all get some opportunity to connect somewhere and of course collaborate. So perhaps Srinivas, if you want to come in and talk about what are the opportunities to collaborate, whether it is with CSR, whether it is with entrepreneurs, or whether it is with citizen groups, or whether it's academicians. So what are the stakeholders and actors who we should bring into this whole ecosystem so that we can really, really thrive all together? Over to you.
Yeah. So in the kind of large landscape that we have, right? We do have researchers, we do have entrepreneurs, have industry. Okay. Of late, what we're also seeing is that a lot of the industry players are coming out with open innovation challenges, wherein they are trying to. They may not have all the R&D infrastructure, they may not have all the tech infrastructure, right? But they know that there are institutions out there, startups out there, which have solutions for their problems. Okay, so leveraging on some of those say channels, right, can be really can really catalyze the whole innovation process, right? So what I'm trying to say is that's one channel where I see a direct problem statements coming in from the industry, reaching out to their intended audience, which is the startups and the researchers. Okay, so something like that would be very crucial to kind of pivot and catalyze the innovation processes. So these are the key stakeholders, and that's the natural progression that I see. I'm very keen. I've been in discussions with several industries, say for instance, the battery industry, trying to understand their problem statements and come out with real innovation calls from their side. We have worked similarly with cement industry to address some of their problems, because now we have very strict pollution control and energy environment conservation norms being imposed on these industries by the government, right? So naturally, they are in need of emerging technologies to take care of some of their kind of neglected issues so far. So we're looking at some of these problem statements and going straight to the industry and coming back a top-down approach. Yeah. Over to the other clusters for their comments.
I think, as I said, we are coming to the end, and I would like Rahul to also join us now. But before we completely hand over to Rahul to kind of summarize and close for us, any last words, Dr. Shilpa, Dr. Prashant, please do come in real quickly. Yes.
I think that the industries should come and talk to the clusters. We are approaching them, and I thank OPSA team to doing this. And I think more is needed. We have to talk to industries more and look at what cutting edge research can be done with the problems that we are facing with all the projects. We should involve more industries. So that is one of the things that I would like to add to what we are saying, because they are quite ahead of the industry, even manufacturing or IT, anything. So I think that is one of the points that I would always want that industry should participate. Yeah, thank you.
Dr. Prashant? You're on mute.
We are echoing the similar sentiments. We know it very well. And all the clusters, they have a very similar type of facilities, maybe in different thematic areas, but we work in a very similar fashion. Our challenges are similar, opportunities we offer are similar. It's a unique opportunity, where different institutions are coming together. So if you come through a cluster, anyone, it may be industry or it may be a philanthropic organization, even Bayer is industry, but they came for a philanthropic work with the Bhubaneswar City Cluster, giving good amount of scholarships to the people with the economically weaker section, coming from the economically weaker section. So whenever somebody comes to the cluster, the repertoire is bigger. So definitely we offer better opportunity. And these opportunities can be leveraged better only if we come on the same table and start talking. So we would like to discuss with more and more representatives from academia, industry, even the international organizations, philanthropic organizations, and try to put in our work, which we are doing, and try to understand their takes. And if there are some tweaking, we are always ready to adopt, and we are very agile. The whole idea is like, okay, we are given sufficient autonomy, so we can tweak the things in a faster way.
Great. Thank you so very much. Truly appreciate that. And thank you all for your time, for your knowledge, for your insights and experience that you've shared just today. I think the generosity of it is definitely something that is going to benefit many, many people. And we know that, once we come up with the report and we will share this also on the platform, I think there'll be a lot more opportunity for collaboration, and we look for that to happen. Yes, Srinivas, please come in.
Yeah. So since we were discussing about collaboration, I just had one more point to add here. Right? Of late, what we have been seeing is this tremendous amount of interest from tier 2 and tier 3 academic institutions as well, to do something really and contribute back to the scientific community in a large manner. So far, the institutions which have been only focusing on graduating students are now trying to graduate into doing some good quality research as well, right? So from the rich cluster, we have been working with a few institutions of that nature. What we have tried to do for them is we have tried to develop some kind of a playbook wherein we come out with approaches in which they can kind of map out their innate skills and strengths in their institutions, the faculty that they have, the kind of research potential that they may get into, right? So helping the institutions recognize some of their potential areas where they could do some research, to then also identify the local industry and try to see if we can tie these institutions up with the local industry to start addressing some of the low hanging fruits in their regions itself, right? Would want to run all the way to Hyderabad or to Pune or to Bhubaneswar to get their solutions. They address some of those through local innovations, local research. And so we're trying to kind of develop that hub and spoke kind of a model, wherein the Hyderabad cluster could be the larger cluster, but then we look at, say, Warangal, which is maybe 110, 120 kilometers away, or maybe Mahbub Nagar. So we look at some of the good institutions over there and try to give the same skill set over there and see, okay, why don't you act as a local cluster and start kind of catering to the local solutions, right, through your own research teams. So that gives a lot of, what it is doing is it is giving the local researchers something to cheer for. In addition to academics, now they're looking at getting some funds for doing some smaller research projects, whether in the agri belts or in the other cement and other clusters that they have, industries that they have. So just a thought that I thought I'll put.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for adding that as well. I think we are ready to now close, and I am going to request Teresa and Rahul to now take over from this point. Thank you all very much. My greatest appreciation.
Thank you, Kiran, for the moderation, and thank you to all the cluster heads for giving so much information about the wonderful work that you're doing and opening up opportunities to different stakeholders to collaborate with you. With this, I will request Rahul to give us a closing message for this roundtable.
Thank you, Teja. Thank you, Karan, and good listening to all our clusters again and again, though we interact day to day. See, closing is very clear in terms of what is the objective. The objective is how we can bring each stakeholders from the community together to have a maximum impact. So whether it's a social impact, or whether it's for the economic development, industry development, that's what the objective is. Vision is very clear. So every one of you who are here, whether if you are researchers, come to us, say what kind of research you are doing which can have an impact, and engage with our clusters. Tell them what are the projects where you can actually engage with industries and which may be interesting for the industry. If you are startups and you have innovations, come to us, showcase your innovations and say this is how it can impact SDGs, or it can impact industries R&D, or it can impact social impact. If you are an industry, you can use us as your extended arm for research. So either a MANTHAN platform or the whole pan-India research ecosystem or our S&T clusters. So you should not depend on only on your R&D, or you have to set up a different R&D team. You can utilize the capability of our researchers and our clusters as your extended arm. If you are a philanthropic organizations or foundations and you are looking for a CSR projects, take our projects which has science and technology and innovation component. which will actually not only sustain the impact of your CSR, it will scale it up also. Any small investment will in R&D will basically multiply with years and years, because it has a multifold impact. If you are international organizations, and you please come to us, engage with our research and innovation ecosystem, and see how you can help, or you can be partner with them. Whether you are investors, you can partner with them. Whether you are foundations, you can partner with them. Whether you are subject matter experts, you can partner as a knowledge partner to them. And that's how everybody has something to take it, either from Manthan platform or from these clusters. So it's a call, a inch of support which can be given to the research and innovation ecosystem is important to us. We wanted to reduce the gap between this industry, academia, and innovations which we are having, and we want that more and more private entities should come forward and support research and innovations to make India in the global top 3 global innovation index. That's what the closing remarks from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. That was a very great call to action. And with this, we are officially done with this roundtable. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the speakers who are here. And thank you to the amazing audience who have been here and asking questions. And this is it. Please join in. Please do check out Manthan platform. Do check out the cluster booths. And see you in the next session. Thank you, everyone. Bye.